Friends, amongst Vivekananda's followers, there are two types. We all wish there is only one type, but there are definitely two types. One type is selfish followers. Second type is unselfish followers. Now, Vivekananda made it very clear unselfishness is the test of religion. So, as Vivekananda followers, we have these two dimensions we have to take care. One is so-called. This dimension is only fictitious in the people's mind, but they are not two really. But for argument's sake, let us take them two. One is their own religion, which is their own mukti, all that business. The second thing is to do good to the world. Now, the selfish people really think they are two different things, and they think the doing good to the world part is only a sentiment, is only of sentimental value. Really, there is no passion attached to it. That is what they think. So what they do is they do bhajans, they do their own meditation, they do their japa, etc. They revere all their elderly people, gurujan, etc. They do whatever is told about, like do this, don't do this, etc. They don't wear jeans to these monasteries, etc. Such other nonsensical, headless stuff. I mean, you don't apply your head to what is being told. You just say yes to whatever is said by elderly people. You can't talk about it. And I mean, you will have to shut up your mouth. And really, it's not just your mouth that you are shutting up, but any rational thought, you have to first ask that rational thought to shut up, and then you have to do all these things. Okay. So this is what they do. And they do, while they are doing all these things, they consider this sentiment also of Vivekananda, that you have to do some service activity. Like you have hospitals, you go work a little there, and you have maintain those hospitals and hostels. And nowadays fashion is human excellence courses, etc., like personality development, and and also teaching languages so that their employability increases. Okay, in human excellence course, their stress management. Why should you manage stress? You should not even have stress, right? So because it is a reality that you already have stress, you want to manage it or eliminate it or prevent it. I don't understand the whole premise of all these things. I mean, I do, but I don't agree with them, and it all can be dismissed easily. So what I'm trying to say is, this is the selfish religion and of the selfish followers of Vivekananda. What is unselfish following of Vivekananda? Vivekananda said clearly that he would sell off the monastery to do missions work. If you remember, there was a famine in Kolkata when Vivekananda was alive. Nivedita were all there. Okay. So if and when he understood the funds were not sufficient, he wanted to sell the land, the prime land on the bank of the Ganges, so that this mission under the name of Ramakrishna could serve people, because there are really so many forms of Ramakrishna. Is that a sentiment? Sentiment, does it sound to you like a sentiment, or that Vivekananda actually means it? Vivekananda meant it. Okay. Now some people, these selfish people, they'll bring some argument that, oh no, Vivekananda ultimately was warned, Sharda Devi did not give permission to Vivekananda to sell these lands, and she said that, okay, you will stay under the trees as monks, but where will my other children who do not have that much capacity be? So don't sell the mud, etc. Don't sell the monastery, etc. Now, They did not have to sell the they did not have to sell the monastery ultimately. That was luck because they got money, number one. Number two, I'm talking about the intention of Vivekananda and his seriousness about prioritizing which comes first, whether it is mission or the monastery, whether it is missionary or the monastery. People cannot see it. When people see it and read about it, they cannot believe it. And that is why they think it is a sentiment of Vivekananda. But what the unselfish lot, who are the followers of Vivekananda, in an unselfish way, want and do is, they simply set aside what they want and what they thought about it earlier, what they thought of anything earlier. They just keep it all aside. They read Vivekananda, they study Vivekananda, they meditate on it, and they understand what Vivekananda wants as a whole. If Vivekananda would have to be extremely pleased, what should be done? This is what they think about. And they make that their mission. And they sometimes wrongly assume that that is the mission that he has founded. And yes, that is the mission that he has founded. That is what he has founded that missionary for. Whether that is the same missionary, whether that missionary has the same kind of goal now, no. I had to find out the hard way. I had to find it out very, very hard way. It took 11 years of my prime time of my life, of all my money, time, energy, attention, all of it I had to put for 11 years. Only then I had to, because they don't tell you that. Okay. So it's a secret. It's a secret means, I'm not saying they openly try to deliberately keep it as a secret, but the problem is, it is like they don't want to tell you anything. They don't want to give you clarity for anything. It's not just this point. There is no debate, there is no discussion about anything that Vivekananda says. There is no discussion on scriptures. There is never discussion between monks or people who lead the legacy of Vivekananda. There is no discussion at all. So that, discussion is to understand each other's interpretation of Vivekananda, because every person has a mind, and though the books are same, the words are the same that they are all reading, but when they apply their mind, the interpretations would be different, naturally so. So they all have to come together and interpret in one way and go forward as a team. But this is not encouraged, because that might lead to breaking the unity. Okay, so what is done? There is a centralized power structure, and that power structure will decide what to do, what not to do. And no talk about it. See, how do you represent that power structure, including that whole organization, if you don't understand what the organization stands for and doesn't stand for, and you yourself are not given clarity? Even if you ask, you are not given clarity. Okay. But how can you then represent that organization? So you cannot, right? So what I'm trying to say is, there is this selfish lot that follows Vivekananda. There is this unselfish lot that follows Vivekananda. Unfortunately, this unselfish lot, this is in extreme minority. Very, very, very few people understand Vivekananda with unselfishness as their guiding light. When Vivekananda clearly said this in his complete works, you can see, as Sri Ramakrishna loved you, as I love you, come, let us love this world like that. He is talking about let us love this world. He is not talking about God. He always talked about God. That's there. But let us love this world for God's sake, for Sri Ramakrishna's sake, because Sri Ramakrishna loved you all. For what? Sri Ramakrishna did not love you all like a person, like a worldly person loves his children. No. Sri Ramakrishna loved you all because you all in turn have to love the world and serve the world without any reservations, and therefore everybody can be happy. That makes Sri Ramakrishna happy again. So this is the circle. But what you think is the selfish lot, the majority people, monastic, non-monastic, and all sentimental batch, all that goody goody, namby pamby, all these people, what they think is what I want. What the person who is approaching Vivekananda or Ramakrishna literature or etc., what they want is more important. What do they want? They want mukti. Okay. So how do they want mukti? They think that Sri Ramakrishna is avatar of God. So if I please Sri Ramakrishna, I'll get mukti. So how to please Sri Ramakrishna? What they think is do bhajan, sadhan, dhyana, japa, etc. No, all good, fine. But this is not the way Sri Ramakrishna expects you to take directly. Okay, this is part of it. I'm not denying this, but this is part of it. What Vivekananda Ramakrishna wants you to do, will you do that? Or what you want, you will do that? This is the prime question. If you do what they want you to do, that is unselfishness. If you do what you want to do to please them in their name, just because you make them photographs, like you may see, they are not living in your heart. They are living in photographs and the statues that you have erected, you have established in the buildings, etc., that you have established. That is not Ramakrishna Vivekananda. The spirit of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda need to be inside you and burning inside you. It should not let you sleep. They will never let you sleep until the whole world is completely harmonious and sustainably so. For this world means, at least for all of us, for all practical purposes, it's only limited to this planet I'm talking about. Yes, the other portion we cannot talk about it now because we are not able to understand even these small things. Common sense is not being applied in these things. Okay. So what they want is whoever is taking the name of Sri Ramakrishna, whoever has even once bowed down to Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda expects that person to be brother of Vivekananda, son of Sri Ramakrishna and Sharda Devi. How will you become brother of Vivekananda and son of Sri Ramakrishna and Sharda Devi? He has made it very clear. If you think about, I'm quoting Vivekananda, if you think about your mukti, you will go to hell. If you want to go to heaven, you will go to hell. If you want to help 1,000 people go to heaven, and for that sake, if needed, you will stand after the 1,000 people in line, then heaven is assured for you. Okay. So that is what Vivekananda wants you to do. Therefore, if you think anything less than the scale, your thinking scale itself should never be lesser than the humanity level. So now all the humanity, if it has to be harmonious, both as individual level, in family level, in community level, in society level, and with nature, in all these levels, if they have to be harmony in all ways, in all dimensions, there is no spiritual and secular separation here. Okay, knowledge is knowledge. There is no spiritual knowledge, secular knowledge. God is God. There is no worldly God or world, there is no difference. Okay. So Jagat is very much part of our dynamics. This is what Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda are saying. If you don't catch it, then that is the whole problem. Now, I can understand it is very difficult for even the brother disciples of Vivekananda, the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, for themselves, it was very difficult to understand Vivekananda when Vivekananda came back from America, when he was talking about all these things and machinery, service activities, all these things. It was very difficult for those people to understand Vivekananda. And they said Sri Ramakrishna never talked about all these things, and why should we do all these things? Our one human life is only to dedicated to realizing God, etc., etc. So Vivekananda's straight question is, did you understand Sri Ramakrishna more than what I understood Sri Ramakrishna? Their answer is clear, because Sri Ramakrishna himself called all these people into his room, asked Vivekananda to God, told them, all people, I have given everything to Vivekananda. All my my whole spirit is transferred to Vivekananda. Whatever Vivekananda says, obey. Never question. He is your leader. Now, he asked Vivekananda to come in, asked these other people to go out, and he told Vivekananda, all these people are your responsibility. I ask them to obey you. You lead them, you instruct them. That is it. So it is the hierarchy is very clear. And then these people, even then, at that point of time, I have told in other videos how they first misunderstood Vivekananda, and they later apologized, and they later they all understood what Vivekananda wanted and lived according to what Vivekananda wanted. Turiyananda went to America because Vivekananda wanted. Turiyananda never cared for anything else other than his samadhi and meditation. Premananda never cared anything other than that. But he worked all his life as manager of that monastery that Vivekananda founded. Brahmananda never cared for anything. But Brahmananda was made president. Okay. So of this monastery. So all these people were forced into work by Vivekananda. Only Akhandananda really understood readily what Vivekananda was saying, because Akhandananda really loved Vivekananda so much that when Vivekananda passed away, Akhandananda, he lost his mind almost. Of course, Adbhutananda also lost his mind, and others also, Brahmananda also. There is a great grievance. Everybody, it was great grief. I mean, it lasted at least 1 to 2 decades in all these people's minds. The loss of Vivekananda's life, to all the effect of that on all these people. Anyway, I'm mentioning Akhandananda. So Akhandananda, as we saw him, if you read that book, there in Kolkata, when there was this tram coming or some underground, I don't know. So he wanted to, this Akhandananda wanted to, out of the grief of the loss of Vivekananda's life, so he wanted to commit suicide. Vivekananda appeared. He stopped him, holding his hand. Okay. Anyway, all of these things are mystical, but what I'm trying to talk about is, it's very clear. These are the 2 divisions. I belong to the 2nd division, because it is the unselfishness is the test of religion. Whatever spirituality you think you will have will never fructify if you are not naturally ready to utilize it for everybody's happiness and everybody's welfare on this planet Earth. Because all of us have been left by Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna and Sarada Devi as elder brothers, elder sisters for the whole humanity. This humanity, which contains idiots, ignorant people, fools, weak people, all of these are our responsibility. If you do not take that responsibility, the worship that you do in temple is really kindergarten and fruitless worship. I have been Pujari of Sri Ramakrishna for 3 years in a proper temple, officially. I am appreciated as a traditional Pujari by Swatmananda, late Swatmananda Swami. Okay. Anyway, I am not going to expand. So what I am trying to say is, I know clearly what worship of Sri Ramakrishna is, both in the way that you are talking about ritualistically, and both the way that Vivekananda wants us to worship Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna in his Virat Rupa, I mean God in his Virat Rupa, means all that existence that you are seeing, whatever you see as existence, part of existence, all of that is Sri Ramakrishna. We have to be able to worship that Sri Ramakrishna And if you practice worshipping Sri Ramakrishna in an image with all this paraphernalia, it's okay. It is just to give you a boost, help you. But that is preliminary. Vivekananda said it is good to be born in a church but not to die there. What does it mean? It means your rituals, your all this sticking to some sentiments and rules, all of this is good. You are born into it, right? You good help. How long will you still stay there? You cannot die just remaining there. But most people do die because of their lack of understanding and because of lack of guidance, because those people who will guide you also are thinking in terms of Brahmananda's lineage. Vivekananda said, I am not initiating anybody, I am not making disciples because my disciples and your disciples, Vivekananda said to Brahmananda, my disciples and your disciples would quarrel. Vivekananda sacrificed, and Vivekananda sacrifice means, I'm not saying he regrets or anything like that, but Vivekananda did not initiate because he knows these two people will quarrel. It's very clear. I'm not saying this, you read the books. But now what happened is, because Vivekananda did not initiate many people, there are not many people who are really holding the spirit of Vivekananda. They're all holding the spirit of Brahmananda. How much they are successful in holding the spirit of Brahmananda is a very big question anyway. That also is not happening. But there is a sincere attempt to fulfill that I can admit, that I will give it to you. But why are you forgetting Vivekananda? With open eyes, you are making Vivekananda less and less relevant every day. His spirit less and less relevant every day. And the sentimental value that you attach to Vivekananda is growing. The image of Vivekananda, because of National Youth Day, all these things. What are these things? If you don't really, if you are not able to catch the spirit of Vivekananda, what use of all these things? It is just a sham, right? Religion is not shopkeeping. You are never religious if you are thinking about only yourself. You ought to be always thinking as part of the whole humanity. Therefore, only if humanity is, if you are working only for all the humanity, then as part of that humanity, you are doing good to yourself also. Okay? I wanted to say this. Thank you for listening.